So in this video, I want to explore what is meant by a worldview. We all have a worldview, and it is where we see humans, how they fit into the universe, how they fit into nature. And before we explore our own personal worldview, I want us to give us some examples of how this worldview has changed through time. How has our attitude toward nature evolved? We're going to look at this by looking at a series of paintings. So here is our first painting. I want you to think about the mood, the color, and the artist's intent. What's going on in this painting, especially with regards to nature and how humans fit in? So I want you to think about the mood and meaning, especially, as I said, with regard to humans. So this is a dark painting. It's a person is on a boat without even a rudder, not even in control whatsoever. This person is about to go off a cliff, off a waterfall. It looks pretty bleak in my mind. It's dark, the mood is somber, and it is a picture of someone who's completely out of control. Nature in this regard is something completely uncontrollable, and we are at its whim. This is a painting that was painted in 1842 by Thomas Cole called The Voyage of Life, Manhood. And Cole suggests here that the only thing to save this person is prayer, because they're in complete, utter, uncontrolled situation. So let's contrast that with this painting. This is actually by the same painter. I want you to think about the images in this painting. There's really two sides to this. So what are the images? What are the moods? What do you think the artist is trying to convey? So in this painting, we have the one side on the left, and this depicts nature that is uncontrolled and violent. We have the broken branches, it's stormy, it's rainy, it's wild and dark, but we're contrasting this time with this more pastoral setting. And if you zoom in on in this part, you will see that the land has been cleared, it's farmed, there's people using the land. So Thomas Cole in this painting called The Oxbow was trying to show westward expansion and juxtaposing the controlling of nature, that we aren't at nature's whim, we can actually control it and let it do our bidding. So that's quite a different attitude. So you see our attitude is evolving. So I have yet another painting. I want you to think about this painting again and think about the mood and the intent of the artist. So this painting was done by Albert Bierstadt, very famous for landscapes, and especially landscapes of big, beautiful American West places like Yosemite. And this is a beautiful painting. It's nature in all of its glory, but the attitude is very different. At some point in our westward expansion and in our development, we can now afford to appreciate nature. And it's not as scary because we have sort of transcended this idea that it's a scary place, and that it's not just something that we can control, but something that we can appreciate. This took a while to actually get there because it's actually a privilege to be able to appreciate nature. You have to be wealthy enough and you have to be in control of your life. So I've got one more other image I want to show you, and this is a very powerful image that was taken in in my lifetime. And again, I want you to think about how nature is depicted in this image and what you thought the artist's intent was. So this image was taken by an Apollo 8 astronaut. This mission was the first mission that actually went around the moon. They didn't land, but they went around the moon. And when you go around the moon, there's a time at which you're on the other side and Earth disappears and you're in lost radio contact. And it's really the first time anyone has been out of sight of the Earth. The first time that a human being has never been able to see the Earth. And then they came around and saw the Earth rise over the moon, the horizon, and they snapped this picture. And this is the quote. Well, how does nature really look compared to these other pictures? How would you think nature is depicted here? You can, as that famous scene in Apollo 13, the movie where Tom Hanks closes one eye and he can cover the moon with his thumb. You can cover the entire Earth with your thumb. All of human civilization, everything we've ever done is on that tiny little bubble. And now all of a sudden Earth looks fragile. And this really was a powerful image. When people saw this, it was the first time that people thought of the Earth as being a fragile, tiny place, which kind of an impossible viewpoint from anywhere except for outer space. And this was a quote from the Apollo 8 astronaut. All astronauts, when they come back, are very transformed by their experience, by looking at the world from this viewpoint. And even humans who haven't traveled, when we could see the Earth as a single ball out by itself in the whole cosmos, it really did change our view and coincided with the birth of the environmental movement. So a very powerful image. So before you start writing about your own worldview, you're going to read about 6 different kinds of worldviews, kind of a menu of options so you can start in your head kind of thinking about this, because maybe it's not something you've ever thought of before. So we're going to read about those, and then eventually we'll be thinking about our own worldview. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.